The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinniman. Each book that I finish in this series, this is the fifth book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and each one I'm like, dang, that was so good. And same with this one. This seems to be a lot of people's favorite book in the series. It's one of the biggest I've read yet. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. I think this one was somewhere around like 700 pages. Another one that I absolutely flew through. I was able to read it in less than a week. I couldn't put it down. So this one finds us on the sixth floor, which is the hunting grounds, and the hunting grounds are the point in the dungeon crawl where outside people who have watched the show, they can join and then hunt the crawlers. So this adds another level of complete chaos and, suckness. Yeah, so not only are there things and NPCs and bosses that the crawlers have to fight, now they have to worry about these people from the hunting grounds. And so there's all these different factions that send different people and whatnot, and you come into this level. Carl's in an office. Basically, the powers that be in the corporations, they don't want him to be able to keep the Gate of the Feral Gods, which is an artifact that he received in the last book prior to this one. What it basically does is it's a portal that you can get through to wherever. You can choose the coordinates, but as soon as that portal opens, some kind of like feral god will come through, no matter how short it's open for, and then chaos ensues because the god's usually like immortal and you can't really kill him. So they don't want him to have this, even though they had put it into the game. So he ends up getting a lawyer and they strike a deal. And so he's able to get like 4 mercenaries that are kind of like bodyguards to come be with him and Princess Donut and the people as they move through the dungeons that are going to be in their guilds. So now on this level 2, people can form guilds. So they don't necessarily have to all be in a party together, but can be part of the same guild. And then they can have different bonuses to their personal spaces, which is, to have different training rooms and different things that give perks and buffs in this dungeon. If for some reason you are unfamiliar with what exactly the Dungeon Crawler series is, basically Carl and Princess Donut, the Persian cat, the world had ended. Aliens had came and they flattened everything on Earth, and only the people that were outside survived, and they had the option to go into the dungeon to do this dungeon crawl, and if they survive to level 18, whoever wins or whatever will get to take back Earth and all the resources and stuff that the alien corporations are trying to take and whatnot. And it's all kind of like a whole like modern day slavery thing that rich people watch as the less fortunate have to go and try to survive this, and they all die in this entertainment reality show that is broadcast across the galaxy for the amusement of whoever, the people and whatnot. So it's pretty effed up. As the books progress, Carl is trying to burn it all down. And there's so many different moving parts, and the NPCs have kind of been like, their minds have been altered, so they don't really know what's going on. Their brains are almost programmed, but there's a way to like wake them up. Okay, so anyways, so back to this book. Carl is unable to keep this artifact. They're going to give it back to him on level 9 of the dungeon. That is if he survives. So the Butcher's Masquerade, basically they have to survive being hunted by these hunters. And then there's also, different bosses and NPCs and storylines going on. And then there's also these vicious dinosaurs as well. There's this one really huge dinosaur called Big Tina that's kind of on a bloodthirsty rampage. And they end up with this quest, like trying to figure out like what's going on with Big Tina and what's the whole thing with all these dinosaurs and whatnot. Stuff gets all weird and happens, and things with like Mongo, Donut's pet Velociraptor, he comes into play with this too. And so they have a lot of things they have to survive and figure out. At the end of it all, there's this thing called the Butcher's Masquerade, which is like a party that the top 50 crawlers will be invited to at the end, although it seems like it's going to be a trap. And then also on this level, Carl basically had contracted with like another network or TV show that was also involved in the crawl, because there's other just different like TV shows with these elite characters. And so he is pulled back into this other storyline with this Tsarina Signet, and her sister Imogen had taken over this castle, and she's actually the one who's hosting the Butcher's Masquerade. So this kind of conflicts with the plans of how they're supposed to survive, but is basically a trap. And then it seems like the TV show producers are leaning for Carl to die in this, and he can't like take too much of the spotlight. It has to go more to the Tsarina's signet. And so there's like all this chaotic like side things going on. And then you have like some of the other crawlers who, some of them are absolutely hateful, vindictive people who have just been also killing other crawlers. And then you have Lucia Marr, who is this nutball. She's kind of crazy in the head, and she has these two dogs, although you kind of find out why she's such an evil, horrendous person. And it seems like there's multiple people inside of her, and that maybe she doesn't have full control of why she's behaving the way she is, and that doesn't even realize that some of this is actually reality. Like, there's so many moving parts to this. There's such... This series is so good, and it's sometimes really hard to explain because of how chaotic it is, but it's also cohesive at the same time. You know, I love a lot of books, but this one's like one of those so addictive reads where if you've ever... I was trying to compare it to like other series that people were like, holy crap, this is amazing. Like the first time people read the series, like Twilight or The Hunger Games, and they got so invested in it. It just pulls you right in. It's so easy to read it, and like you become immersed in it and invested in the characters. This one is also very emotional. Just some of the stuff that happens, you know, people are gonna die and it sucks. So just some of the scenes, they really like, oh, hurts the heart, but it's so dang good, and I will just keep screaming the praises. I'm not really screaming, yelling. We'll keep yelling the praises. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. It's awesome. Is this the best one so far? I kind of feel like it is. I kind of love this one too a lot, but I feel like I've liked all of them so much. It's really hard to pick a favorite. The first one sucked me in immediately. The second one was great. I know a lot of people thought like 3 was kind of hard to get it. I don't know. Some people had issues with 3. 3 was a very claustrophobic one. So I can see why people didn't like that one, but I like that one too. But yeah, I think this one might be my favorite. It's more emotional. It's more, you're starting to get into all like the turning nuts and bolts of like how the different governments work too. And like, so one of the corporations that like runs this whole crawl, in the midst of it, gets taken over by another corporation. They kind of like merge. So this other one now owns 51% of it. So that affects stuff too. And there's weird stuff happening. And then like at some point, Carl wins this like fan box prize that basically makes him have to go to this convention that's happening, like a fan convention, but he's not really there. He's more like a holographic thing. And this takes away from him being with like the other players to help with getting through this dungeon. So that's really frustrating too. There's so many like frustrating things that get thrown in Carl and Donut and Cadia's paths and all the other crawlers that it's a whirlwind of a book. Yeah, like I said, I loved it. If you're looking for a zany fantasy series that I can't stop saying is awesome, maybe you'll think it's awesome too. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll hate it. I'm sure there's people out here who think this series is dumb, but you know, like that's everything. Not everyone likes all the same stuff. So it's always funny to me when people are like, this author's overrated or this. It's like, cool, you can totally think that and that's fine. I don't know why you need to tell me that. Like, I don't care. Chocolate's overrated. I still like to eat it. It's weird when people are very adamant about like, this is horrible or this. It's like, dude, it's all your opinion. And like, you're not going to change my mind about reading something or how I feel about it. It's all an experience, and we experience everything so differently. So anyway, what has been your favorite book in the series so far? Like I said, it's hard to choose one that is a favorite, but this one, yeah, might be this one, but I'm still not 100% sure on that. I don't know. If you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.